What's up, everybody? It's the Roundtable Sports Podcast. Today, we're taking a look back at the top 50 plays for Ryan Fitzpatrick in the 2020 season for the Miami Dolphins. And clearly, for Ryan's future, he's going to be the Washington football team's quarterback unless he's unable to beat Taylor Mclean out for the starting job. It seems like to me that it's Fitz's job to lose, but I do appreciate having a double-barreled shotgun type situation when it comes to the quarterback when you're working with quarterbacks at this level. When the Washington football team was able to get competent quarterback play last year and had a quarterback that was able to make smart decisions on third down and drop back and pass it at times, they were able to be successful on offense to the point where they were able to win games because their defense is so formidable, and I think that that's not going to change in this upcoming season. What is going to change is there's no Dwayne Haskins in the mix throwing inaccurate passes that he has no idea where they're going. And while Ryan is not the most accurate passer I've ever seen, he does have a ton of experience and he does know what he's doing inside of an NFL offense. So I'll be excited to see what he can bring to the Washington football team because I do think he's a good fit for what they have going on offense. I like Scott Turner's offense, and he wasn't really asking his quarterbacks to do too much last year. It was just that some of them weren't capable of offering much, and when Alex Smith was in there and giving them competent quarterback play, making smart plays and delivering the ball to wide receivers where they could catch the ball and run with it, they were able to, score enough points to win a bunch of games and even win the hapless NFC East. And yes, Ryan Fitzpatrick and Alex Smith are different types of quarterback when it comes to their risks that they take down the field, but they are able to deliver balls just like that, on the slant. That wasn't a given at certain points during the year for the Washington football team. So if Ryan and Taylor are capable of going in there and doing that with the increased weapons and the better edges at the offensive line, I think that's a situation for success with the Washington football team because the offense just needs to be average. The offense needs to score some points and not turn the ball over, deep in their own field, which, of course, Ryan will have to play within himself to do that. Whenever he's stretched beyond his means, that's when the ball kind of gets away from him and he can throw some picks. But the Washington football team isn't putting it on him. Scott Turner, asked him to do some things, but really it's just about making competent throws and putting it on his wide receivers. And, with Fitz's proclivity to throw it down the field, I think he's a great fit for Scary Terry. Terry McLaurin can get down the field, high point balls, leave people behind with his speed, as well as, shrug off tackles from the secondary. So if Ryan Fitzpatrick shows any sort of chemistry with Terry down the field, that's going to open things up, for everybody underneath. They brought in Curtis Samuel to go along with Logan Thomas. I love Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick in the backfield. I hope they use Antonio more, but at the same time, having both of them on the field, running two-back sets, having J.D. be the flash guy that's getting the jet sweep or whatever it is, it all works for Ryan's, benefit. And I think that he can take advantage of what they have. I think the weapons, really mix well with what he does well. So when you throw those things on top of the Washington football team kind of remixing their offensive line a bit, I'm not a huge Eric Flowers fan. And, of course, you'll see him throughout this highlight film as well. But he did work for Washington in his year there. They picked up Charles Leno, who hasn't been a monster for the Chicago Bears, but certainly hasn't been the problem necessarily as far as their line goes. And then they drafted Cosme from Texas in the second round, so they're throwing assets at the problem areas of the offense, which was the edges of the offensive line, as well as the options after Scary Terry and Logan Thomas. As far as the future goes, clearly Ryan Fitzpatrick is not long for the league, but I also didn't feel like he fell off significantly last year, and I think he can offer the Washington football team enough in these given years that they can have some competent quarterback play, and it should at the very least be interested. I know that a lot of the Washington football team fan base is behind Taylor Heineke after watching him in that playoff game. And, after watching non-competent football play for most of the year, it was really a relief to see him and Alex Smith, when he was out there, play football for the team, because the rest of the time, whether it was Dwayne Haskins or Kyle Allen, they really weren't getting much out of the quarterback position, and yet they were still formidable because their defense was so good and so well put together. And it's exciting for Washington football team fans in the first place to have a direction with Ron Rivera. Sometimes it feels like they're winning despite the organization, not because of it. So to have Riverboat Ron kind of offering some, different types of organization and leadership than they've had in years past, it's an exciting situation overall. So to have Fitzpatrick, a guy who's willing to make a throw like that for his teammates, that's a good situation. I'm excited to see how it plays out.